everyone, I'm Sarah Davis, and you're watching Fight News Now Extra. Coming up next, we're bringing you the hottest headlines from the MMA world as a fighter retires, and another one, unfortunately, is affected by Hurricane Sandy. We'll have our MMA panel on to break it all down, so let's get to our newsmakers. The American Psycho has officially called it quits. 35-year-old light heavyweight Stephan Bonnar, who we first saw on the inaugural season of The Ultimate Fighter, confirmed his retirement on Facebook, thanking all of the fans. Of course, his most recent fight was against Anderson Silva at UFC 153. Bonnar retires with a 15-8 record. Now, many of us on the East Coast experienced the effects of Hurricane Sandy. Some even got a little beat up. According to Chris Weidman's manager, his house on Long Island was hit pretty hard by the storm, and fellow teammate Ryan Bader even tweeted that Weidman had lost his house. No confirmation, but our best wishes are with Weidman and his family. So those are your newsmakers. Now let's throw it over to our fantastic-looking MMA panel, John Pollock, John Ramdian, and Robin Black, I think.
Thank you, Sarah. John Pollock here for the Fight Network, back in your life, gearing up for another panel discussion with John Ramdian and Robin Black. And guys, right off the top there, an announcement: Stephan Bonnar retiring from the sport. Not unexpected, but one that certainly a pivotal figure back in 2005 during the explosion. We'll start with the Pirate.
Of course, we know Stephan Bonnar's contribution to mixed martial arts, and more specifically in the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, where he battled Forrest Griffin, losing that the championship matchup. But you know, Stephan Bonnar has done so much. He's been a great figure, and I don't buy it 100% that he is officially retired. He says he's retired from now.
No one ever retires.
That's it.
Case in point, Robin Black.
Yeah, Bruce Lee retired for real. But you know what? Sorry, my fist seems to be making sounds. Yeah, I mean, one thing you have to give credit to these guys who started the ball rolling. And in that sort of second and third generation of MMA, of the UFC, Stephan Bonnar was a key figure. And for a guy to go out probably with $1 million in his last performance, it didn't go the way he wanted, but end off, put $1 million in your bank account, and then go and enjoy your career. You know, he's a great broadcaster. The guy does really great color commentary. I think it's going to be a great place for Stephan Bonnar.
And I think he signed off perfectly on Twitter, wishing all of his fans peace, love, and violence. And violence is what we are going to see on February the 2nd when Jose Aldo returns, taking on Frankie Edgar, the long-awaited featherweight title fight, with Edgar coming down to 145. And interestingly enough, this will be UFC 156, meaning that Brazil card in January will not happen, and we now get 5 weeks between pay-per-views from the year-end show until February 2nd here. So Edgar Aldo, I mean, this is a great fight.
Yeah, this is a great fight indeed. You have two guys. Well, Jose Aldo has proven he is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and according to the current UFC welterweight champion, George St. Pierre, Frankie Edgar is the pound-for-pound best in his eyes. And I mean, how can you disagree with him? He's got 2 wins over BJ Penn. He really brings it each and every time. A consummate professional who continues to evolve as a martial artist, and I cannot wait for this matchup.
Yeah, same with me. And I mean, I think this is a talking point that's going to be hit pretty heavily, but for the first time ever, Frankie Edgar is going to be somewhat close to his actual fighting weight. Because the guy would fight at 155, but his opponents would weigh 177, 178 pounds by fight time, and he barely cut anything. So against Aldo will still probably be the bigger guy, but Frankie Edgar is as fast as him. He has a great approach to be able to come in, do his damage, and get out. And overall, this is going to be one of the most exciting, one of the fights to really look forward to this year.
This will be an interesting fight to really look forward to in terms of not just in the cage, but in terms of this could really establish the 145ers, 2 key guys as draws. Now, Robin, I know you wanted to chat about this going back to last Friday with Bellator 78. Me and John spoke about this a little earlier this week about Jerry Poe and the officiating in the Andrei Koreshkov, Mariusz Zaromskis fight. You watched the fight. Jimmy Smith was very outspoken on the broadcast, and a lot of people really upset at the way Jerry Poe kind of just allowed too much damage to be incurred here on Zaromskis.
Hey, the fighters are getting better. The fighters are getting more vicious, more skilled, better at hurting each other. The refs, the judges, all of the officials have to get better too. And the number one job of a ref is to protect a fighter. And if I go in there to fight, I fight under the assumption that when I'm taking too much damage and can't protect myself, that a referee is going to come in and do his damn job. And that guy didn't do his job, and there's a lot of that going on. It's one thing, you screw up a call and a guy doesn't get the win he deserves, that's one thing. But when an athlete is giving everything to entertain people and you don't protect him, that guy's got to go.
And I think what's happening right now is that mixed martial arts, the actual sport of MMA, I'm not talking about going back to the first UFC because it wasn't MMA back then. It was no holds barred. It's very different than the sport we know now as mixed martial arts. And as it continues to evolve, we're going to see judging and refereeing continue to evolve. Many of these fighters that have retired, guys like Ricardo Almeida and, of course, UFC Hall of Famer Matt Hughes, have all expressed interest in helping judges and helping referees learn how to better do their job, and I think that's what we need. We need these guys that know what they're talking about to teach people who don't know what they're talking about. To show them the light, so to speak.
My last point, though, is this not a bigger issue, the fact that we get upset about the stuff like this with Jerry Poe, and 2 weeks from now, this is going to be forgotten. The commission is not going to slap this guy on the wrist. We'll see him officiate more fights, and there really is no deterrent for any of this kind of stuff.
You're absolutely right, and it's going to continue because as the fighters improve, they improve out of desire, the ability to make money, all of this stuff. Refs, it's a cool gig on the weekend for a lot of these guys, and it's going to be hard to get these guys to improve.
We're all out of time. Sarah, peace. We're out of here.
Yeah, I love it. You guys are awesome. So, Fight Network has 2 live fighting events on Saturday. The first one is Glory 3 from Rome, Italy, featuring the final 8, and it kicks off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then you'll want to tune in for the inaugural event from World Series of Fighting starting at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Now stay with us here on Fight Network because we have more Fight News Now Extra coming up next. Yummy!